Welcome, everyone, to Vpod.ai. Let me introduce myself. I'm Mike, your host, and sitting across from me today is our resident expert, Susan.
Hello, everyone. Thrilled to be here and really excited to explore today's topic with you.
You can sponsor this podcast for just $25. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more. If you're interested, visit Vpod.ai to get started today.
Such a great deal.
Right. Okay, so what if I told you that taking a really simple 15-minute walk at 7 in the morning physically alters your brain chemistry, but taking that exact same walk at 1 in the afternoon completely rewires how your body handles sugar?
Yeah, and doing it at 7 in the evening actually changes your cholesterol.
Exactly. It sounds like, I don't know, science fiction, but it is pure human biology. The clock on the wall actually changes the fundamental physiological outcome of the movement.
It really does. It misses the entirely dynamic relationship our bodies have with time, light, and digestion.
We usually think about walking as this flat, almost engineering style metric, Like you check your smartwatch, it flashes that you hit 10,000 steps, and you just think, okay, mission accomplished.
Right. It's clean and numerical.
Yeah, it's comforting because we like things to be easily measured. But when you look at the biological landscape, that step counter is missing more than half the story.
Oh, absolutely. The exact same physical exertion produces wildly different chemical reactions depending on, well, the position of the sun and the state of your stomach.
So today, our mission is to uncover the fascinating science behind when we walk. Getting up and moving is universally praised, obviously, but we are going to explore how the specific benefits shift dramatically throughout the day. So whether you, the person listening right now, are an early bird catching the sunrise, a lunchtime stroller trying to escape the office, or a night owl prowling the pavement, you're going to learn how to strategically time your walks.
You really can match it to your highly specific health and fitness goals. It's essentially a biological menu you can choose from.
I love that, a biological menu.
Yeah, and the best place to start that menu is right at the beginning of the day when your body is in a very specific, almost vulnerable state.
Okay, let's set the scene. The alarm goes off, the shoes go on, and you step outside. I want to look at this idea of how morning light, combined with being in a fasted state, just biologically sets the tone for your entire day.
Right, so assuming you slept well, you haven't consumed any calories for, 7 to 8 hours?
Right, the fuel tank is empty.
Precisely. You're in a fasted state, which means your circulating blood glucose from last night's dinner is totally gone, and your insulin levels are at their absolute lowest point in the 24-hour cycle.
And when insulin is low, your fat cells are essentially unlocked, right?
Exactly. So when you start walking consistently in the morning prior to eating breakfast or drinking anything with calories, your body is forced to find energy somewhere else.
Because it can't just pull from a recent meal.
Correct. It has to shift into lipolysis.
Which is the breakdown of lipids.
Yes, the breakdown of fat. Your liver begins converting stored triglycerides into usable fatty acids at a really highly efficient rate.
Wow.
This mechanism is profound for weight management, and the clinical data shows it is particularly beneficial for those dealing with obesity or metabolic syndrome.
Now wait, let me offer some pushback here. If you're walking on a completely empty stomach to burn fat, aren't you also risking burning muscle mass?
That is a very common fear.
Because that seems like a terrible trade-off for anyone trying to stay strong and healthy as they age.
It does, but the specific mechanism of walking prevents that. Walking is a low-intensity, steady-state activity. It doesn't demand rapid, explosive energy. Because the energy demand is slow and steady, your body has plenty of time to oxidize fat, which is a really slow-burning fuel.
So it doesn't need to panic and break down your muscle tissue for quick glucose.
Exactly. You are safely targeting fat stores while entirely preserving lean muscle.
That is incredibly reassuring. So you get the fat-burning benefits without the muscle-wasting drawbacks. But the benefits of that morning movement extend way beyond just, metabolic function.
And for sure.
Let's look at the brain, specifically cognitive health and aging.
This is where the mechanics of blood flow becomes so crucial. As you walk, the physical contraction of your leg muscles acts almost like a secondary heart.
A secondary heart.
Yeah, pumping blood back up to your core and brain. This creates what vascular biologists call shear stress against the walls of your blood vessels.
Shear stress sounds bad, I'm not going to lie. But I'm assuming it's actually a positive trigger.
It is a totally vital positive trigger. That gentle friction, that sheer stress of increased blood flow prompts your endothelial cells to release nitric oxide.
Okay, and what does the nitric oxide do?
It dilates the blood vessels and significantly improves perfusion, or basically blood delivery, to the brain. For older adults, this early morning surge of cerebral blood flow acts as a physiological buffer. It physically counteracts the harmful impacts of prolonged sitting that inevitably happen later in the afternoon.
So it's like building up a neurological defense shield. By getting that blood pumping early, you are preemptively protecting your cognitive function from the stagnation of the office chair.
You nailed it. You are creating a vascular reserve that lasts for hours.
Okay, there's one more morning mechanism we have to explore, and it's the one that blew my mind the most. We are talking about waking the body up.
The alertness factor.
Right. We know that morning walks raise cortisol levels. And cortisol is usually demonized as the stress hormone, but in the morning, it's the wake up and go signal. It clears away the sleep inertia.
It gets you moving.
But how on earth is doing something to spike cortisol and wake yourself up intrinsically linked to falling asleep hours and hours later? It feels like a massive biological paradox.
It seems totally contradictory at first glance. I mean, why would an alertness hormone schedule your sleep? But it all comes down to the suprachiasmatic nucleus.
The what now?
The suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's the master clock in your brain, and its entire relationship is with light.
Walk us through the mechanics of that. What actually happens when the sun hits your face?
So when you step outside in the morning, bright sunlight enters your eyes and hits these very specific photoreceptors on your retina called melanopsin cells.
Okay.
These cells don't help you see shapes or colors or anything like that. Their only job is literally just to measure the brightness of your environment.
Just a built-in light meter.
Exactly. And they send direct electrical signal straight to that master clock in your brain.
And the clock says, okay, the sun is up, time to flood the system with cortisol.
Yes, that is the immediate reaction. But, and this is the crucial hidden mechanism, that exact same signal simultaneously starts a 14 to 16 hour countdown timer for melatonin.
Wait, really? Your primary sleep hormone?
Yes. The transition from dim indoor light to bright morning sunlight effectively tells your pineal gland, lock in the schedule, we need a massive release of melatonin tonight.
So the morning walk is essentially the very first step of your bedtime routine.
Yeah.
By anchoring your morning with light and movement, you are literally scheduling your sleep architecture for that night.
It's amazing, isn't it? You are perfectly aligning your internal biology with the external rotation of the planet.
Wow. So we ride that morning cortisol wave for a few hours. We've burned some fat, protected our brains with blood flow, and set our sleep clocks.
A productive morning.
Right. But around 1 or 2 in the afternoon, our circadian rhythm naturally dips, and our lunch hits our bloodstream. The biology violently shifts, and so does the purpose of our walk.
We enter the realm of the midday slump, the dreaded post-lunch lethargy.
I want to focus on the afternoon walk as a tactical intervention for blood sugar. Usually people compare sitting at a desk all day to a computer going into sleep mode, and they say walking is like wiggling the mouse. But that doesn't really explain what's happening in the blood. Let's use a different metaphor.
Okay, let's hear it.
Instead of wiggling a mouse, let's say your bloodstream is a highway. After you eat lunch, that highway is absolutely jammed with glucose cars. It's gridlock.
That is an excellent visualization. When we eat, our digestive system breaks food down into glucose, which just floods the bloodstream.
And if you just sit there,
If you just sit at your desk after eating, the body has to rely entirely on insulin to act as a traffic cop, slowly directing those glucose cars off the highway and into your cells.
which takes a while.
It does. And for many people, especially those with insulin resistance, that traffic cop is completely overwhelmed, leading to high blood sugar and low-grade inflammation.
So how does a 15-minute walk right after lunch change the traffic pattern?
Well, it opens up an entirely new system of toll booths that don't even need the traffic cop.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you get up and walk, the physical contraction of your leg muscles, specifically the soleus muscle in your calf, forces glucose transporters to the surface of the muscle cells. They're called GLUT4.
And these GLUT4 transporters just pull the sugar right out of the blood.
Instantly. It is a process called insulin-independent glucose uptake. Your muscles demand immediate energy to power the walk, so they siphon the glucose directly out of the highway, bypassing the need for insulin entirely.
So it just clears the jam.
Right. Getting up to move shortly after eating improves your glycemic score so effectively that it dramatically flattens the post-meal blood sugar spike.
That is a staggering return on investment.
Yeah.
You are actively preventing cardiovascular disease and metabolic dysfunction just by taking a stroll around the block. instead of, scrolling on your phone after eating.
It's such a simple switch.
But wait, speaking of walking around the block, I want to bring up a crucial environmental factor because the psychological data makes a really specific distinction about where we walk during the day.
You're referring to the green space effect?
Yes, the research shows that midday walks in green spaces, parks, nature trails, anywhere with trees significantly lower tension, anxiety, anger, and fatigue.
Absolutely.
But walking in a concrete city environment during the day does not produce those same mental health benefits. The physical glucose clearing is happening, but the brain isn't getting a break.
Right. It's a very different psychological experience.
Why does city walking fail to boost our mood at noon? Is it the noise, the crowds, the lack of nature?
It comes down to cognitive and sensory load. During peak daylight hours, an urban city is a highly demanding environment. Your brain is processing traffic patterns, dodging pedestrians, filtering out loud construction.
And just managing the harsh glare of sunlight on glass and concrete.
Exactly. Your amygdala, which is the brain's threat detection center, has to remain in a state of high vigilance just to navigate the sidewalk safely.
So you are physically exercising, but your nervous system is still firing on all cylinders. You're just exchanging the stress of your inbox for the stress of the intersection.
Precisely. You do not achieve psychological decompression. Green spaces, however, provide what environmental psychologists call soft fascination.
Soft fascination. I like that term.
It's great. Your attention is engaged by the rustling leaves, the pattern of the branches, and the natural scenery, but the engagement is totally effortless. It doesn't require high alert processing.
So it allows the nervous system to actually stand down.
It shifts your brain from a directed attention state, which causes fatigue, into an involuntary attention state, which actually restores your cognitive reserves.
But let me advocate for the listener right now. I know you are probably thinking, I barely have time to inhale a sandwich for lunch, let alone commute to a pristine forest for a 20-minute nature walk.
Yeah, that's a very fair point.
So what is the minimum effective dose here if you are stuck in a concrete jungle? Do you just give up on the mental benefits entirely?
Not at all. The brain's threshold for soft fascination is actually surprisingly low. You do not need a sprawling national park.
Oh, really?
Yeah, finding a single line of old-growth trees, a small landscaped courtyard, or even just a quiet residential side street with some gardens be enough to lower the sensory load.
Just a little bit of green.
Exactly. The goal is simply to break the visual monotony of concrete and glass.
Okay, so we've successfully navigated the workday, cleared the traffic jam of blood sugar from our vascular highway, and hopefully found a tree to look at.
A very successful afternoon.
But the earth keeps spinning, the sun goes down, and we transition from sympathetic nervous system dominance, the go, go, go of the day, into the parasympathetic rest and digest phase. And our goals for walking shift entirely.
They do. This evening window is so crucial for overall well-being. Throughout the day, we accumulate a massive amount of tension. People tend to hold on to their absolute peak stress right at the end of the workday.
Oh, yeah, you can feel it in your shoulders.
Right. And the evening walk is uniquely positioned to alleviate this.
People always call it taking out the mental trash, but I think that's a bit of a cliche. Biologically, what are we actually doing? Are we literally flushing chemicals out of our system?
We actually are. You are utilizing the light physical activity to metabolize and flush the residual cortisol and adrenaline that have pooled in your bloodstream from the day's stressful emails, meetings, and commutes.
So it's an actual flush.
Yes, the evening walk acts as a metabolic sweep, clearing those stress hormones out of circulation before they can interfere with your sleep architecture.
And here is where we hit an incredibly intriguing paradox regarding the city environment. During the midday, we learned that city walking didn't help our mood at all because of the high sensory load.
Right, the traffic and the noise.
But the findings show that evening walks actually do improve mood for city dwellers. Why the sudden flip? Why does the city stress us out at noon but suddenly become a mood booster at 7 in the evening?
Well, think about how an urban environment physically and socially transforms as the sun sets. That overwhelming sensory load we discussed, it completely dissipates.
Well, that makes sense.
The aggressive rush hour traffic ends, the loud construction stops, the intense glaring sunlight is replaced by softer, warmer streetlights and illuminated storefronts.
So the city essentially goes from being a chaotic workplace to being a calm neighborhood.
Exactly. The environment transitions from a space of stressful commerce and urgency to a space of leisure and community. The cognitive demand drops significantly.
And you're not on high alert anymore.
You can actually let your guard down and observe your surroundings without that hypervigilance. And when your threat detection centers quiet down, the physical benefits of walking can finally synthesize with profound mental relaxation.
That makes perfect sense. It's not just the walker changing their mindset. It's the stage they're walking on that fundamentally changes its script.
I love that way of putting it.
But I have another pushback here. If I'm walking in the evening to wind down, isn't exercise inherently a stimulant? Won't getting my heart rate up at 8 o'clock at night actually sabotage the melatonin we worked so hard to schedule that morning?
It is a delicate balance, but the key is the intensity. A vigorous, high-intensity run would absolutely spike your core body temperature and stimulate your central nervous system, delaying sleep.
Which you don't want right before bed.
Right. But a leisurely, low-intensity evening stroll does the opposite. It gently warms the muscles, and when you finish, your core body temperature experiences a compensatory drop.
And a dropping core temperature is a primary trigger for falling asleep.
Yes. Plus, if you take that walk specifically after dinner, you are doing wonders for your metabolic health. It improves lipid markers, reduces inflammatory markers, and aids in gastric emptying, which means your food digests more efficiently before you lie down.
Let's clarify lipid markers for the listener, because that's a term doctors throw around a lot. What does that actually mean for someone's next blood test?
It refers to the fats in your blood, primarily triglycerides. When you eat a heavy dinner, those fats circulate in your bloodstream.
And the walk helps with that.
Yes. A post-dinner walk stimulates an enzyme called lipoprotein lipase in your muscles, which acts like a vacuum, sweeping those fats out of the blood and using them for energy before they can be stored or cause plaque buildup.
Which ties perfectly back into cellular health, setting you up for that deep restorative sleep. It is a beautifully connected, continuous biological loop.
And it really is an elegant system.
It is. But I have to be completely honest here. With so many highly specific time-of-day benefits, fasted fat burning at dawn, cognitive defense in the morning, insulin-dependent glucose clearance at noon, lipid regulation at dusk, it is incredibly easy to get paralyzed trying to optimize this.
Oh, absolutely. The pursuit of physiological perfection is a very dangerous trap.
Right. If you try to find the absolute perfect routine, balancing your meals, the angle of the sun, and the exact proximity of green spaces, you might just get overwhelmed and end up sitting on the couch doing nothing. So what happens if we zoom out?
If we zoom out and strip away the clocks and the timers, the ultimate baseline is that the human body requires movement to maintain cellular integrity. Regardless of the hour on the clock, the sheer act of increasing your physical activity through walking yields massive systemic rewards.
We're talking about sweeping whole-body benefits that happen anytime you lace up your shoes.
Without a doubt, we see globally improved immune function because the muscle contractions help pump lymphatic fluid, which carries your immune cells throughout your body.
Oh.
We see better longevity scores, meaning people simply live longer, healthier lives. Walking regularly stimulates mitochondrial biogenesis, the creation of new energy factories in your cells, which literally slows down the aging process and prevents a whole host of age-related diseases.
So, is striving for the perfect walking time actually the enemy of progress? Like, if I use an analogy of investing, waiting for the absolute perfect market conditions to invest your money is usually way worse than just consistently putting a little money in the bank every single day, regardless of what the stock market is doing.
That is a brilliant comparison. Compound interest applies to your cellular health just as much as your finances. The single most important factor, above all the intricate timing nuances we've discussed today, is consistency.
Just putting the daily biological deposits in the bank.
Yes. Selecting a time that fits naturally into your daily life ensures that you will actually do it. If you are naturally a night owl, forcing yourself to do a 6 in the morning fasted walk is a recipe for burnout. You will likely quit after a week because it clashes with your chronotype.
And then you lose all those long-term longevity, brain health, and immune benefits entirely.
Exactly. The best routine is the one you can stick to without relying on immense willpower. Whether it's a brisk walk to the local coffee shop at 8 in the morning, a loop around the office park at 1 in the afternoon, or a twilight stroll at 8 in the evening, the consistency is what guarantees both the short-term mood boosts and the long-term health transformations.
So the ultimate hack isn't a specific time of day, it's just repetition. Building the habit so firmly that it becomes a non-negotiable part of your day, just like brushing your teeth.
Spot on. The physiological details are fascinating, and they allow us to tailor our routines if we have specific targeted goals like managing a blood sugar spike or accelerating weight loss. But the foundation is just moving forward one step at a time every single day.
Okay, let's synthesize this journey we've been on. For you listening, we've essentially mapped out a menu of biological upgrades. You have the morning for waking up your brain with vascular shear stress, setting your sleep clock with early retinal light exposure and efficiently burning fat on an empty stomach.
A great start.
Then you have the afternoon for clearing the glucose highway, managing that post-lunch blood sugar spike without needing insulin, and getting a dose of soft fascination in nature to restore your attention. And you have the evening for flushing the day's cortisol, lowering your blood pressure, and enjoying the calmer, less demanding sensory load of the environment.
It is incredibly empowering to know that you have these different biological levers you can pull throughout the day. You are in complete control of the outcome.
It really is. It takes walking from just a mundane chore or a way to get from point A to point B and turns it into a highly targeted precision tool for well-being. But before we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final fascinating concept to mull over.
I love a good thought experiment. What do you have?
We have spent this entire conversation learning how light exposure, digestion, and the environment radically change the biological impact of a walk. But think about this. How might the changing of the seasons, with their dramatically shifting daylight hours and extreme freezing or sweltering temperatures, totally rewrite the way our bodies react to our daily route?
Oh, that is fascinating.
Right. Does a winter morning walk in the pitch dark, bundled in heavy layers, trigger the same sleep clock and fat oxidation as a bright, humid summer sunrise?
That raises a really profound question. The environmental cues, the thermal regulation, the light exposure, they completely flip depending on the time of year.
Yeah.
Your body is navigating an entirely different set of variables.
It is definitely something to think about the next time the leaves start to change or the snow starts to fall on your daily loop. We started this exploration talking about how that step counter on your wrist feels so precise. But we've learned the body isn't just a machine tallying numbers. It's a deeply dynamic ecosystem reacting to the sun, to your meals, and to your environment. The exact precision might be elusive, but the power of simply stepping out your front door is crystal clear. Thank you for joining the conversation here on Vpod.ai. Keep moving, stay curious, and we'll see you next time.